welcome to the Robot Game Strategy session. Your instructors for today are from Dr. X Academy. We are all very experienced in the first LEGO League competition and robotics and coding in general. We are part of Team Rock, and we represented Canada at a few international FLL competitions. In 2017, we are the world champions in the UK Open International FLL competition. In 2019, we placed first for the robot game at FLL Open International Competition in Lebanon.
Today we will look into the rules and missions of the robot game and tips to complete them. In the robot game, you'll have 2.5 minutes, a total of 150 seconds, to complete tasks on the field. In order to complete these tasks, you must create a fully autonomous robot that is both efficient and reliable.
Before moving on to the strategy, we need to make sure we understand the rules. We're going to cover some common misconceptions, some important rules, and some tips and tricks. Later, we will talk about the individual challenges and some core strategies to doing well in this year's first LEGO League robot game. 1. The home and launch areas. The two main areas within the field are the home and the launch areas. The home area is this section of a field. The home area is the only part of a field where you can touch the robot without having points deducted. All human-robot interaction occurs within this area. All attachments, modifications, repositionings, and maintenance happen here. A launch is when your robot and all of its attachments and game models, such as a basket or an extension to an arm, leaves the base to perform tasks. This section of the launch is the launch area. When your robot is about to launch, all equipment and game objects which the robot uses will be inside the launch area. For example, in M14, the goal is to deliver these green cubes to the target area. These cubes must be in base on launch. If you decide to use a basket to move the cubes to the target area, the basket must be inside the launch area as well. The robot does not have to do everything by itself. You can go back to the home area and you can pick it up, reposition it, change the attachments, and launch it again. So after completing a few tasks, your robot should go back to the home area and a team member can get the robot ready for the next set of tasks.
Here we will discuss the strategies for missions that are simpler and less time-consuming. So here we have the game table with a corresponding level of difficulty next to the mission. They are rated from 1 to 3, with 1 being the easiest and 3 being the hardest. For beginners, we recommend doing ones that are rated 1 and 2 because they are a lot simpler and they will already give you tons of points.
Mission 1, Innovation Project. While building the set, you will have noticed that there are bags full of void pieces that weren't used to build the models. These are what you use to build your innovation project. The structure has to be at least 4 studs long and be composed of at least 2 parts. For scoring, you must bring the innovation project to either the RePLAY logo on the field or the gray area next to the bench. We rated this mission as level 1 because the target areas are closed and allow for imperfections because they are large. For this mission, try to make your innovation project convenient for delivering. Even though the mission guide says that the design should represent your project, that can't be assessed, and anything can represent your project if you really think about it. Now for an example. This here is an innovation project. It fits within the guidelines and is also a reasonable size and shape. It is approximately a cube, making it easy to push around, and it also gives it enough contact surface no matter what orientation it is in. Design your innovation project to your team's advantage, like the one shown here. As a demonstration, we will be pushing the innovation project along with 3 health units to the gray area beside the hopscotch.
MO2, Step Counter. In order to score here, you need to slide the green bar towards the machine. In terms of scoring, there are 3 areas that the pointer on the green bar can point to score points. If it points to magenta, you get 10 points. If it points to yellow, you get 15 points. If it points to blue, you get 20 points. Depending on how much time you have, you can decide to go for the pink, yellow, or blue section. The key to this mission is going slow and steady, and you can use trial and error to find a good speed that works for your robot and your team.
Mission 3, slide. There are 2 figures on the slide, one already at the top and the other one you need to push. Your goal is to push both of the figures off the slide. You will receive 5 points for getting one figure off the slide, and 20 if you get both off. Additionally, you will receive 10 more points if you get one figure into home, and 20 if you get one completely off the mat using the heavy tire. Here are difficulty level for each possibility. For beginners, it is easiest to do part of the mission, which is to take figure off the slide and bring it home.
Mission 4, Bench. The bench mission is very close to the base and offers a variety of methods to score points, including the innovation project from Mission 1. Your team has to push the bench down flat to get 10 points, take the backrest completely off the 2 holes to get 15 points, and bring cubes into the spaces on the bench to get 10 points per cube. These are the difficulty ratings that we gave to these tasks. For the bench, our robot first uses the backrest to push down the bench, and then lifts the backrest out of the holes. We personally don't recommend putting the colored cubes in the hopscotch spaces for beginners. Your team will be probably better off putting all the cubes in Mission 8. Mission 8 will be covered in detail later.
MO5, basketball. Here, the robot must raise the basket to one of 2 different heights and put a cube inside it. You receive 15 points if there is a cube inside the basket, 15 points if the basket is in the middle height, and 25 points if it is on the top height. If you're going to go for a higher height, put the cube first, then lift it. This task is best accomplished with an arm or a rack system. For this task, we will raise the basket to a lower height. This can be accomplished with a standard robot and a simple motion.
Alright, Mission 6, Pull-Up Bar. 15 points will be awarded if you pass through the pull-up bar. If you manage to pull yourself up completely, meaning that no part of your robot is touching the mat, you earn 30 points. It is best to do as many missions as possible within one run. So going through the pull-up bar to get to another mission can save time, as well as having the option to follow the line under the bar. For most teams, we don't recommend pulling up the bar, but doing the mission 7 instead. However, if your team decides to do it, you can take inspiration from the 2016 biomimicry wall task. It is also important that you keep your robot small and compact.
Mission 7, Robot Dance. At the end of the match, if the robot is partially over the dance floor and also repeating a silly action, you earn 20 points. This endgame dance mission is significantly easier than the pull-up mission. Because reliability is a big factor in SLL, it is advised to do this mission over the pull-up. Again, be mindful that you cannot do these two at the same time. In terms of dancing, any repetitive action should count.
Mission number 8, BOCHA Overview. This is an interactive mission. We're using the mechanism with the blue and red cubes. You must coordinate with the other team in order to give each other matching cubes. For example, if both teams send in blue cubes, then both teams score 25 points. But if one sends red and the other blue, then both teams score 0. The semi-octagon area bordered by beams is the frame, and the smaller semi-octagon area inside is called the target. For each cube, no matter the color, is worth 5 points when inside the frame or the target. A bonus 10 points is awarded if the yellow cube is completely in the target area, using the aim machine to its rate. It is important to communicate with the other team on which cubes you will dispense the red or blue, so that we'll be sure that you will push the same ones. Prepare for this. Have 2 different programs with 2 different colors to do the mission. But since the pusher requires precision and that you need communication with the other team, we don't recommend this mission to beginners. Using the cubes that you get in the base, you can create a new attachment that jumps all the cubes into the frame. I would think of a basket for the arm that goes down when at the frame. This is an example attempt at the mission of dumping the cubes in the frame.
Mission 10, Cell Phone. Here you have to flip the cell phone so that the white side is up. The mission is worth 15 points. Like the tire flip mission, there cannot be anything touching it other than the mat. We rate this one level 3, since flipping objects is quite challenging and also has some terms of variability with it. If the robot attempts and fails to flip, then the phone might cause troubles for some other tasks. Luckily, there is another way of accomplishing the same mission. Although it's hard for the robot to flip the phone itself, a technician can assist the robot if the robot brings this phone back to home base. Then the technician can flip the cell phone and the robot can put itself back on the mat. Since there are no restrictions of where this flipped cell phone has to be on the mat, the robot can push it to anywhere on the mat that is convenient. That's the strategy that will be used for the mission here.
Mission 11, Treadmill Overview. Located on the bottom right corner of the map. This mission requires you to spin on the rollers to get points, and you get more points the longer you stay spinning on it. There is a pointer pointing to different colors for more points. If the pointer is pointing to gray, then you get 5 points. Red, you get 10 points. Orange, 15 points. Yellow, 20 points. Green, 25 points. Dark green, 30 points. This mission is very unforgiving in the case that you do mess up, since one wheel is going up and down the ramp. You will have to compensate for any misalignments caused. So it is a good idea to leave this mission for the last on a run. and to align yourself right before going on the treadmill. It is also important to consider the size of the wheel. Since some wheels work better than others, the wheels on the standard robot work quite well, taking less than 3 seconds to reach the dark green area. Make sure you are only turning one wheel, which is the wheel running on the treadmill.
On the mat, there is a blue wheel that you have to move out of the large circle to get 15 points, and then move into the small circle completely to get an additional 15 points. In total, you can get 30 points from this mission. We rated this mission as level 1 because the motion required to complete the mission is fairly simple, and extra attachments required are also simple to build. Here we have designed an attachment for the standard robot's arm. It has axles sticking out of it that will be used to move the wheel. They will be in between the gaps in the wheel. You can use the robot's arm to pull the wheels towards the small circle. There is some friction between the wheel and the mat, so you might have to pull with a bit of speed, but not too much. As you can see here, the robot completes the task in one swift motion.
Mission 14, Health Units. The robot puts health units in a target area. There are 3 health units that start in the home area, and the robot can also collect the 5 other health units that are scattered around the field. In total, there are 8 health units that the robot can use. There are a few target areas: the RePLAY logo, the gray area on the bench, and looped over the Pullup Bar posts. If the health units are touching the RePLAY logo or the gray area in the bench, it scores 5 points per health unit placed. If the robot manages to put them onto the Pullup Bar post, however, it scores 10 points each. The mission can be paired with Mission 1 to be more efficient, since they have the same target area as the innovation project. We don't suggest collecting all 8 of the health units since that takes up a lot of time. Also, we don't suggest going for the post, since the post area is quite small, therefore making it unreliable. Here we deliver the 3 health units at home directly into the gray area around the bench, along with the innovation project.
A good launch is extremely important. It is when you start the robot's program and it goes and completes tasks. The program is based on the launch position, so an incorrect or bad launch can mess up the entire run. Aligning with the wall and using the grid and logo help with positioning. You can also create an alignment tool like this one. You can put it against the wall and then use it to align your robot. Usually there's a slot that is the size of the robot so that it fits perfectly. Building strategies. Many teams try to make complex mechanisms for various reasons. Do not do this. Keep it simple and straightforward. A simple mechanism is a lot more reliable and easier to use than a complex one. Complex mechanisms take longer to design, are more fragile, and are much less reliable. Many YouTube videos show robots with complex mechanisms just because they look cool. Don't do this. The equipment inspection bonus also gives you an extra 25 points for not having a big robot or attachments. The standard robot is enough to complete the majority of tasks. You only need minor adjustments to the arm. If you would like, you can add some interchangeable attachments as well, but only use them if they are reliable. Long story short, teams should try to complete missions in the simplest way and with the simplest attachments.
There is a 2.5 minute time limit that is relatively short, so efficiency is required if your team wants to do a lot of missions. Again, not all tasks must be completed, but do as many tasks as you are comfortable with. If you really want to, then you can do each mission one by one. Otherwise, we recommend finding a few missions to knock out at the same time. You have to determine what missions you want to do together in a single run. Usually, these are missions that are close to each other or involve getting an item that is needed for the task for the next mission. For example, You might want to bring back health kits on the way back. You have to think of about how many missions and runs you would like to do, and what missions you would do in a single run. You have to think about the most efficient method of completing the missions. In the case of failure, how would it affect other tasks? These are a lot of things to consider, so take your time on this step. The more missions you do, the more consideration you need to put in to meet the time constraints. For example, you could do the bench press and the basketball together in a run. Going under the bridge to do mission 8 and mission 7 could also be an option. Reliability is probably the most important factor of having a high robot game score. Your team should focus on the easier missions such as innovation project and health kits, the bench, getting the person off the slide, going under the pull-up bar, pulling the row machine, and going to the dance floor at the end of the match. All these missions are quite simple and do not require complex attachments. There are no need to complete all of these, so do as many missions as you are comfortable with and that you can do reliably.
Robot game progress over the weeks. As of now, you have around 10 weeks to design and program a robot to do as many tasks as possible. Here's a schedule for preparing the robot game before the competitions. In some of these cases, you will be repeating the same process for a few weeks. Since fine-tuning and programming the robot may take a lot of trial and error, your team also needs to be patient during this process.
Week 1. Read and discuss the rules with your team. If you haven't already, build the sets. See how they work and come up with potential ideas for certain missions. You should also split the team. Have half of the team do the project, and for the other half, have someone on robot design, programming, and strategy. Schedule team meetings frequently so that each of you can be updated on what is going on. For all of the further weeks, make sure to hold team meetings at least twice per week and assign work to everyone during the meetings and make sure everyone gets their job done before the meeting. Week 2. Robot design. Start prototyping a robot. We advise using the standard robot, but you might want to change up the arm or even add a second one on the side or back. This is where you should decide on what to do. Remember, keep it simple, make sure it works all the time and doesn't break easily. Programming. Start to familiarize yourself with the EV3 interface and learn how to use the sensors as it can be helpful for doing tasks consistently. Strategy. Finalize what missions to start with for the upcoming weeks. Choose the easy ones to do first just to get a hang of it.
Coming to week 3 and 4, this will be working on your robot designs. Basically, improve on the robots and maybe add some interchangeable attachments. Try to approximately finalize the attachment so that later you won't have to change a lot of your code if you decide to improve your attachment. Also, is to be working on your programming. Start programming individual tasks. Basically, start from the base, do a task, and go back to the base. Do this for as many tasks as you please. Remember, make sure it is reliable and works at least 90% of the time. And lastly, so we'll be working on your strategies. Maybe think about what kind of mission you want to do at one run so that you don't have to go back to the base that often.
Week 5 to 8, robot design. Make improvements to the robot and attachments. Communicate with the programmers to see how to make it better and more reliable. Programming. Start programming the runs. Again, these do not have to be very long runs. Just do a few at a time if you are comfortable with it. Remember, reliability comes first. Strategy. Help the designers and programmers with extra insights and strategies. Appoint 2 technicians. They will be the ones manipulating the robot during the competition.
In week 9, in terms of robot design, you should finalize the robot and attachments, and there should no longer be any major changes at this point. In terms of programming, you should also start finalizing. Do not add any new tasks and focus on making it reliable. As for the technicians, you just start practicing setting up and running the robot like it's in the actual competition. There can be no mistakes made in the competition, so be ready. Also, practice as much as you can so that you and your partner can prepare the robot in the least amount of time possible. So everyone should finish preparing the robot design presentation. You should present all aspects of your robot design, programming, strategy, and innovations in a 4-minute time frame, and show a 1-minute demo of your robot doing a run. So like any run. So everyone on your team must participate in this presentation, no matter if they're focusing on the project or the robot game. The teams are welcome to present some of the strategies mentioned today if the robot uses them.
Week 10, Robot Design and Programming. Finalize if you haven't done so already. Run your robot as many times as you can and make sure it is reliable. Technicians, keep practicing. Practice makes perfect. Everyone, finish the presentation and rehearse a lot.
Teams are welcome to add on to this schedule for the project, core values, or other tasks. Your team is also encouraged to modify the schedule, but no matter what the schedule is, you have to follow it strictly. Or you might find yourself without a good robot the day before the competition.
So to conclude, that might be a lot to take in. So here we summarize all the key points in this session. So you do not have to do all the tasks. In fact, around 5 is already extremely good. So focus on the easier ones that are closer to home. So keep it simple, straightforward. Simplicity means reliability. If possible, use the basic robot, only adding minor changes if necessary. Reliability is key, probably the most important aspect of the FLL. Focus on making your robot reliable than scoring more points. Make sure your robot works 9 out of 10 times. Strategically plan how you're going to do the tasks and what order. Increase efficiency, but if it's at the cost of reliability, try not to do that. You should read the game rules carefully, even after this session, so you understand it perfectly. Plan out a schedule and arrange deadlines. And lastly, remember, this is all a learning experience, and it's equally important to have fun in the process.
Thank you for listening to our session. We hope that you learned many things from our presentation and can use your knowledge to build, program, and improve your robot. If you have any questions, now is your time to ask. Some of the instructors in this video will be on the Zoom session to answer your questions.